Hello, I'm Mike Spencer, General Manager of Investor Relations here at Microsoft. I'm pleased to host this Q&A session today on Microsoft's cultural transformation. Today with me are Kristen, Roby, Dimlow, Chuck Edward, and Lindsay-Rae McIntyre. Microsoft's been on a very deliberate cultural transformation since Satya and Amy took over probably 5 years ago now. If you guys could, Phil, help us understand a little bit more on the journey we've been on, what employees are seeing, and what's particular happened under Satya's leadership.
So Satya really focused his culture on a culture of growth mindset. And the idea of growth mindset is to really to move from a situation where you feel like you know all the answers to one where you're really engaged in learning. And it's been profound for our company. I've been with Microsoft on and off for 20 years, and I'll tell you that the vibe here is so much different because it's much more acceptable to collaborate, to ask for help, to make a mistake and learn from it, to try to experiment, to learn, to change quickly and move on. And I feel like it's had a profound impact on our company.
So obviously at the core of culture is the ability to execute and perform. And so can you guys help us understand a little bit about how we link our culture and the transformation we've been on back to results and overall execution of the strategy?
Right. So one of the things we do is have a very robust employee listening system. And so we have an annual engagement survey, as most companies do, but we also have a daily pulse. And so every day, at least 2,500 employees across Microsoft will be invited to share feedback on what they're seeing in the system. And we even have 6 culture questions along with that. And so that's more of developmental feedback, if you will. So we share that with executives and leaders so they can see how they're doing in their organizations, but they can see which parts of the culture are really sort of landing in their org and where they may need to make more work.
Lindsay, Chuck?
I think from a diversity standpoint, Microsoft has this beautiful way of embedding innovation into hackathons and teams and customer partnerships. So it's embedded into everything that we're doing. And so you see the Xbox controller come forward. You see the blur feature in Teams designed by somebody who was hard of hearing and needed to see her parents differently through the technology. You get to see the instantaneous closed captioning built into the Teams product. So, it is our commitment to diversity and inclusion in our product design as well that allows us to create solutions for all of our consumers and customers and users that not only reinforce our commitment, but give them a beautiful user experience as well, which ultimately I think shows up in our results.
Yeah, great examples. So obviously it's been, and Kristen alluded to this, it's been a journey since Satya took over. Can you help us understand some of the biggest learnings and some of the things that have been really hard along the way, so investors can get a better idea of just how much has changed over that time?
Yeah, Microsoft does business in 110 countries. And I think over the last 5 years, increasingly, the cultural transformation hasn't only been a US transformation. And so being able to understand the complexity of the global landscape and how we learn and grow and connect with one another calls on each one of us to show up in a different way for one another. And so, we've talked a little bit about the, growth mindset foundation, but this need for us to be aware of ourselves and others, really lean in with a sense of curiosity, and then have the courage to talk about when our lived experience is different from our aspire to culture, and then innovate further. And so those are some of the things that it feels like have changed in the last 5 years, particularly sort of day in and day out, as we strive for greater inclusion and greater employee engagement in the workplace.
And I think humility is a huge part of this. We realize that the majority of cultural transformations that companies try actually fail. So this idea of, are you ever really there? We always have that in the back of our mind. We talk a lot about this idea that is every employee's lived experience matching our cultural aspiration. And currently, we can't say that every employee would say that. So that becomes the destination.
When you think about everything that's gone on from a cultural transformation standpoint, what's the one highlight from a personal standpoint you would look at and want investors to know about our transformation?
I think one of the really neat things that I've been able to see is this idea of customer. So that's very fundamental to our culture as well, is trying to put our customers first. And we talk about making our customers successful. And we also, I've heard Satya say things like, we want our customers to look cool. We're not about being cool. We want our customers to be cool. And I'll say that's a different mindset. And again, it's very, very compelling as an employee. And it makes us all feel like we're really, we're advancing on our mission and we're helping customers get to where they need to be, which is terrific.
Great.
Yeah, I think, you always espouse this idea of taking risks and it being okay to make mistakes. But until you really have to face having made a mistake and seeing what would happen, those sound like words. So very early on when I took my most recent job, I had to make a very big change that didn't go well. There felt like there was a lot of pressure. And to see the way Satya and others reacted saying, just own it, move on, we're gonna make mistakes as we try to drive big agendas, I could tell that was a very different company. And I came out of it more empowered rather than less empowered.
Yeah, great. Lindsay?
I would say Microsoft's curiosity about alternative sources of talent, right? We're looking to non-traditional sources. We've expanded the universities that we look to, the industries that we look to for credible talent that will add to our equation at Microsoft. We go on to military bases and upskill our veterans who are moving into civil society. We have an autism hiring program that we're working on with other colleagues across multiple industries. And so all of these new sources of talent, they're making us better.
Yeah.
And so we're learning. We're getting better skill sets. We're getting more diverse. It helps us understand and stay connected to this huge customer and consumer base that we're constantly wanting to understand better. And having that diversity represented inside Microsoft really helps us.
And another thing that's very top of mind for a lot of our employees and our investors are environmental and social related topics. So are there any specific areas that you guys would like to call out? And maybe we start with you, Kristen, this time on those areas.
Great. This is really top of mind for employees. We have monthly Q&As where Satya addresses all employees across the world. And frequently they'll ask questions about the environment. We work very, very hard to ensure that we are sustainable as an organization, and we use a number of our technologies to try to help the Earth. So we have things like AI for Earth, AI for Health. There are a lot of different places where this plays in. And I think employees can feel a lot of pride in that we're using technology and digital transformation to improve the way that business is conducted across the globe.
Yeah, the only thing that I would add is that increasingly employees in particular are looking to their employers, and in our case, Microsoft, to take a stand on things that were once civil in nature. And with employees in 110 countries, you can imagine the variance in the asks. Yeah. And so, it's important for us as Microsoft to stay connected to our values, to stay connected to what is uniquely Microsoft's opportunity to influence, and then to step forward. So where we can, we try and share our learnings and our understanding with Microsoft's broader ecosystem as well, because we know that this isn't just us. We know that this is, the responsibility of all of us from a corporate landscape, and the more that we can share and learn and grow together, the better.